This podcast is supported by Talkspace.
When my husband came home from his military deployment, readjusting was hard for all of us. Thankfully, I found Talkspace.
Talkspace provides professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatric providers online. Military members, veterans, and their dependents ages 13 and older can get fast access to providers, all from the privacy of their computers or smartphones.
I just answered a few questions online, and Talkspace matched me with a therapist. We meet when it's convenient for me, and I can message her anytime. It was so easy to set up, and they accept TRICARE. Therapy was going so well, my husband and I started seeing a couples therapist through Talkspace too.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, including TRICARE. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com/military. Go to Talkspace.com/military to get started today. That's Talkspace.com/military.
Hey everyone, I'm your host, Peter Zablocki, and you're listening to History Shorts. I hope everyone's having a great day so far, and thank you for making this show a small part of that. If you'd like to help me out with a small gesture, please leave History Shorts a rating or a review, and click that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. For sources and books used as the basis for these episodes, how to advertise on a show, and other information such as a list of our upcoming guests on the Conversation series, or a link to our Patreon account where you can listen to exclusive episodes not heard here, please visit www.historyshortspodcast.com. You could also always email me at peter@historyshortspodcast.com. Today's episode is brought to you by the Podcast Republic, your ultimate podcast listening app. Discover and subscribe to thousands of podcasts from around the globe, all in one place. Download Podcast Republic now and take your podcast experience to the next level. Having said all of that, in the aftermath of World War II, as millions sought meaning in a world transformed by war and technology, a former pulp writer turned explorer offered a radical new path. In 1950, L. Ron Hubbard, born in Nebraska and once a Navy officer turned science fiction author, published Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health, proposing that traumatic memories, called engrams, lurked in a hidden reactive mind. He offered a method to purge them and reach a state called clear. The book swiftly became a cultural phenomenon, landing on the New York Times bestseller list for 28 weeks. But Hubbard didn't see Dianetics as an end, rather a stepping stone. By 1952, his thinking had evolved toward spirituality, toward a new religion. And here is the rest of that story.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Hubbard coined the term Scientology, derived from Latin and Greek roots meaning the study of knowing how to know, and launched a new belief system treating the human spirit as distinct from mind and body. Followers of Scientology were instructed that a human spirit had lived across trillions of years and could regain extraordinary power through advanced auditing levels. The church taught that these spiritual beings were trapped in the material, called mest, and could leave and transcend physical form. On February 18, 1956, Hubbard and his followers established the Church of Scientology in Los Angeles, shifting from self-help to actual religion, largely to shield against medical and legal challenges and to gain tax benefits. The church quickly expanded international branches, built a global structure headquartered in St. Hill Manor in England, and rolled out the e-meter, a spiritual biofeedback device integral to auditing sessions. Scientology promised self-knowledge, freedom from trauma, and spiritual ascension, but at an escalating cost. Members paid thousands for courses and auditing, following a progression known as the Bridge to Total Freedom. Only after significant financial investment could it access advanced levels, including the highly guarded operating Thetan, or spirit, revelations, which describe a cosmic history involving the galactic tyrant Xenu, mass extraterrestrial genocide, and soul reincarnation across time. By the late 1950s, Scientology had clinched tax-exempt status in the United States, and then in 1956 expanded worldwide and introduced the Sea Organization, or the Sea Org, a quasi-military order of elite members living aboard ships, dressed in naval uniforms and bound by billion-year contracts. Sea Org members oversaw auditing, publications, and operations. Yet, internal accounts reveal grueling discipline, labor camps, and emotional manipulation aboard vessels like the Apollo. Trouble followed, swift, clandestine, and ultimately catastrophic. By the mid-1970s, the Church of Scientology was facing mounting pressure from governments around the world. Intelligence agencies, the IRS, and even municipal police departments were scrutinizing its tax-exempt status, its aggressive legal tactics, and its secretive inner workings. Rather than respond transparently, the church launched an extraordinary covert operation that would become one of the largest domestic infiltrations in the U.S. history. Dubbed Operation Snow White, the scheme was conceived to purge government agencies of any documentation that portrayed Scientology or its founder in a negative light. Its objective: to infiltrate, steal, and destroy any files that could jeopardize the church's legitimacy or tax exemption. The scale was staggering. Up to 5,000 Scientologists participated worldwide, many embedded as double agents within institutions such as the Internal Revenue Service, the Department of Justice, and the U.S. Coast Guard, and even foreign embassies. Operatives used fake IDs, wiretaps, and surveillance tools to copy and steal sensitive documents. In one bold operation, church members gained access to the Department of Justice Law Library and physically removed files. Another team broke into a federal courthouse by night and bugged offices. Their actions weren't just precautionary, they were acts of espionage, executed with the precision of a spy agency. But in 1977, the operation unraveled. The FBI, acting on tips and wiretap evidence, raided Scientology offices in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., seizing over 48,000 documents. What they found was damning. Detailed plans for infiltration, logs of bugged conversations, lists of targeted officials, and written directives from top leaders. The most damning of all were memos signed by Mary Sue Hubbard, L. Ron Hubbard's wife, and head of the church's Guardian Office, the department responsible for intelligence and covert operations. The fallout was explosive. 11 senior Scientology officials were indicted and later pleaded guilty to charges including burglary, theft of government property, obstruction of justice, conspiracy, and illegal wiretapping. Though Hubbard was not charged, documents revealed that he had knowledge of and indirectly authorized many aspects of the operation. The Justice Department labeled him an unindicted co-conspirator. Faced with potential prosecution, mounting lawsuits, and public disgrace, Hubbard disappeared from public view. He went into deep hiding, moving from safe house to safe house under the protection of loyal followers. For the remaining years of his life, he ruled the church remotely, issuing directives through trusted intermediaries while rarely being seen in public again. Legal battles and public scrutiny intensified. Critics accused Scientology of being a cult, a profit-making enterprise, and a manipulative organization that coerced members, enforced disconnection from dissenting family, and demanded nearly impossible fees in exchange for spiritual progress. Several countries classified it as a harmful movement. By contrast, supporters saw it as a misunderstood religion, enduring lawsuits to secure recognition in places like the US, Australia, and Italy. Central to Scientology's strategy has been its embrace of celebrity influence. Beginning with Project Celebrity in 1955, the church targeted artists and entertainers, opening celebrity centers worldwide, including a famous converted Hollywood chateau, using star power to shape public perception and attract new recruits. Tom Cruise, John Travolta, and other high-profile members became public faces of the movement. As Scientology grew, it invested heavily in media. In 2016, it unveiled a $34 million Scientology media production complex in Hollywood, aimed at controlling its narrative via films, news, and digital content. By the time of Hubbard's death in 1986, Scientology had spread globally, yet remained controversial and tightly controlled. His final years were in seclusion abroad, mainly on ships, continuing spiritual research while legal troubles persisted. Leadership passed on to David Miscavige, who consolidated power through the Operation Org and enforced strict internal discipline. Today, the church claims millions of members and maintains influential flag-based facilities and archives in Clearwater, Florida. Critics dispute membership claims, pointing out that only a fraction ever reach advanced levels, and that many drop out quite early. Its Church of Spiritual Technology in New Mexico stores Hubbard's writings on titanium discs underground. Its superpower building in Clearwater possesses high-level spiritual enlightenment experiences at high cost. Despite decades of legal challenges, defections, and exposés, Scientology persists. It is often the subject of documentaries, such as Going Clear, critical exposés, and heated legal and moral debates, especially over its policies toward critics, disconnection, and treatment of members. The History of Scientology is thus a saga of contradictions, a system born from a self-help bestseller that became a religion, promoting spiritual liberation, yet charging for every advancement. Thanks for listening.